Hi, this is Professor Bruno speaking, and I'm going to try something called a cartoon theory. I'm not sure if I'm going to make this as an ongoing series, but I'm going to try something new. This is one for the Fairly OddParents. So, why is it that Trixie Tang is so underused on the Fairly OddParents in comparison to the other characters Timmy interacts with? She doesn't appear nearly as much or get much to do when she shows up. Before I get into my theory as to why, let's talk a little bit about her character and the role she played on the Fairly OddParents. Trixie Tang exists to be the most popular girl in Dimsdale Elementary School. She exists to be the girl that Timmy wants to fall over. She exists to be one of the wealthiest people in Dimsdale. She exists to be one of the tallest kids in school. She exists to also be a person who plans to ignore Timmy in every way possible. In the first 5 seasons, she appeared 32 times and had a major appearance in at least 12 of those episodes. In season 6, she got a major downgrade. The only time she ever did anything with a major role was Wishology. Sure, she's in other episodes like Hurricane, as well as Manic Mom Day, and had kind of an ensemble role with the rest of the cast in episodes like The Big Superhero Wish, but she doesn't really get the spotlight at all in seasons 6 and 7. Even what she does isn't much. So yeah, those 2 seasons she really got downgraded. In those 2 seasons, she only appeared 6 times, and she's not the focus in any of them. According to the Fairly OddParents wiki, season 4 used Trixie a lot more. Despite this, even before Poop was introduced, Trixie didn't appear that much. It's just that when she did appear, she got a more prominent role than she did in seasons 6 and 7. For example, in The Boy Who Would Be Queen, she was exist to be a tomboy, but unfortunately that was scrapped after the episode aired. It's just a shame that the writers didn't use her very often or explore her tomboyish personality. There was so much potential for her. She did a few things on the show, and she doesn't get to appear that often. It's not difficult to write her in more often, and she hardly ever interacts with any of the non-popular kids aside from Timmy to begin with. It's just weird. We don't know much about her relationship with Chester, AJ, or Vicky. You would think that would be developed more. You would think there'd be a team-up between Trixie and AJ or something. I mean, sure, Trixie did try to interact with Chester in Emoji Commotion, but she only did that to make Timmy jealous. I would have loved to have seen an episode where Trixie Tang did something for Timmy's school. I don't know, maybe she could be a gym teacher at their school. Call it Trixie's Gym. So, why is it that Trixie Tang is so underused? Well, my theory on this, and again, this is just a theory, my theory is that aside from Butch Hartman, the writers simply forgot about her. And my reasoning for this is that every one of those side characters, not including Principal Waxaplax or Mr. Bickles, before seasons 9 and 10 exists in one of 2 locations. Sometimes in both. Timmy Street and Dimsdale Elementary. On Timmy Street, you have Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, Mr. and Mrs. Turner, Vicky, and Sheldon Dinkelberg, meaning that if an episode were to take place in Timmy's house, Mr. and Mrs. Turner might be there, Vicky might end up showing up, Sheldon will be next door for Mr. Turner to vent on, more often than not, Chester and AJ will be hanging around in some capacity. It's the street, they're all there. Even if the episodes have nothing to do with Vicky or Timmy's parents or Dinkelberg, you're going to want to include one of them for a quick gag or something. And the other common location is Dimsdale Elementary School, which you have Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, Chester, AJ, Sanjay, Elmer, Mr. Crocker, Principal Waxaplax. Trixie gets admired at their school, but she's not always there. And as for a lesser extent, the popular kids like Tad and Chad and Veronica to an extent. It's kind of weird, but Veronica had more feelings for Timmy than Trixie, even though she doesn't get a lot of appearances. So, if you're writing a story where Timmy's at school, well, his friends are right there. Mr. Crocker's in front of them as their teacher. Principal Waxaplax is right in her office. And if it's a Mr. Crocker episode, he's going to try to capture Timmy's fairies. It's not unusual. And it's not uncommon that AJ gets more A's on more than one occasion. So that kind of leaves Trixie as the odd one out. Now, I'm not saying that Trixie can't be annoyed by Mr. Crocker's antics or show up at Timmy's house. But you have to importantly write her in to do so. You have to go out of your way to think, are we going to have an episode where Timmy tries to woo Trixie? Or are we going to have an episode where Trixie goes to Timmy's class or goes to Timmy's house? It's only going to be whenever she's important. She's not going to show up that often. Just kind of a supporting character or a one-off character as much as the other characters, because she simply doesn't fit in quite well with the other characters in those 2 locations. Additionally, a secondary backup theory on that is that by the time season 7 finished production, her voice actress Dion Kwan retired from voice acting around 2015, so they couldn't bother to write her into any of season 8 to 10's episodes, especially with the addition of Chloe Carmichael. But even without Dion, they should have done more with her. They could have recasted her, But anyways, if you wanted to do an episode where Vicky tries to torture Timmy, Trixie's really not going to fit in well there, because it doesn't make sense why Trixie wouldn't just be, like, Vicky, you're trying to destroy Timmy. You should probably stop that. You're making him miserable. So yeah, I don't think she fits into that archetype. And that kind of makes sense if you had a character like Koi Carmichael who became the show's new Trixie Tang by the time the show got into its final season. But yeah, there you go. That's my reasoning. I think they just forget not because the writers are bad, but because Trixie doesn't fit naturally into the ecosystem of the Fairly OddParents without you having to specifically write her in to do so. So yeah, that's my theory. I'm excited to hear what you guys think in the comments. See you around, folks!